A sci-fi 2D action adventure game in the works?
Does this game offer anything different to the genre?
Find out in episode 2 of Kickstarter Games.
The Ascendant has risen, and it's up to you to track down and confront this dangerous organization that is a threat not only to mankind, but to the universe itself.
If only it was that easy, Tubby. Not only is your daughter taken by their leader, you're left crippled in the process, leaving only one option. Risk your humanity to save them all by transferring your mind into a robotic body.
Holy crap! That sounds pretty crazy, but really cool with a dark twist. Mindseas is being worked on by the developers Kamina Dimension, and from the screenshots, pre-alpha demo, and artwork of the game, it's looking fantastic.
I've actually played through the demo and reviewed it, so make sure to take a look at that video after this one if you want to see my in-depth thoughts on its gameplay.
This is one of the more darker action adventure type games, and you can certainly see inspiration from games like Metroid, Mega Man, and Castlevania.
You'll be able to use many different weapons and powerful abilities. The detail in the handmade animations, lighting, and effects look really polished for a game this early in development.
Man, I really hope that the final product will end up with this quality, unlike other games. My number 9.
Let's take a look at really what the game has to offer, and what are your initial thoughts on Mindseas and the Kickstarter page?
So first initial thoughts of this Mindseas game. It looks really tight with the controls, and that is something you always want when it comes to these Metroidvania kind of games. Just from the screenshots and from the video I saw, it looks like this game does offer a good challenge. Really test your reaction time, your reaction speed, which is always nice. And yeah, this looks like a pretty solid game. Looks like the developers really know what they're doing, the way they set it up, the way they talk about the game itself. But we'll talk more about the Kickstarter stuff in a little bit here.
For myself, I played the demo like I said before, and it was like pretty solid. There were of course bugs and stuff, but that's going to be obviously there in the pre-alpha, and they fixed a lot of the stuff that I was talking about. And from what I played, I really liked the impact of the bullets, because I know when me and Tubby play games, sometimes the impact is quite lacking.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was just playing through the whole game, just like listening to everything in the background, there's like a lot of subtle details with the rain and the enemies. Definitely so far from what I've seen, and just looking at the Kickstarter page, it seems that the team really has everything pretty nailed down. I know one thing that you mentioned earlier was that you wish you could kind of see what weapons will be added to the game. So I guess that would be something, honestly, I would like to see, like what other types of weapons will possibly be added throughout.
Oh yeah, because with these kind of games, as you progress, of course you'll naturally get more powerful, but we really want to see how exactly you'll get powerful. Like, for example, will your blade be able to do like more range or something, or will your bullets be able to penetrate through enemies and kill enemies that are behind them? Just really curious to see what other variety they're going to have in terms of the game itself.
Now we see stuff like the boss concepts, which are pretty cool looking, specifically the enemy with the sword, which actually transforms into an axe. I think that's actually really cool to see that as a boss, because I don't know too many 2D like action adventure games where it has that type of feature where an enemy can like switch out their weapon and make it different, which I'm assuming and I'm really hoping that influences how the enemy plays and how the enemy attacks you as well.
Oh yeah, I don't know, maybe he's a reoccurring boss. Maybe it's one of those bosses that like he starts off easy when you first encounter him, but like towards the end of the game he has like all these different move sets and skills that he'll use against you. A lot of good promise here.
When it comes to the gameplay features, we know that there's going to be range weapons and melee weapons, and you can have each one equipped at the same time. And there's stuff with the UI having to deal with stamina, and you have your upgrade network, and you have a hub that you can actually talk to the other people that you meet along the way. So it has like a lot of promise in terms of quality, and definitely the developers are really paying attention to the community. You can actually join the Discord for a discussion and offer advice there, which makes it a lot easier. And I definitely recommend like a lot more developers really having a Discord, opening it up to really get feedback in real time from like, people that actually want to play the game or are interested in it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So when it comes to the tiers, Tubby, what do you think? Good, bad, good or bad?
Okay, good and bad. The tier list. Now this is a good example of what a good tier list is, because if you look at it, the first thing, at least when I am looking at these Kickstarter type pages, is how much do I have to pledge in order to get my hands on the game? And at least for this game, it looks like you could only, $15. It's just $15 to get your hands on the game. Well, never mind, just kidding, that's the early bird. $20 is the actual standard Kickstarter price, which is pretty good in my opinion, especially for in a game like of this quality. And what's really nice too is if you go back to the support pack, the $5 pledge, you may not get the actual game itself, but you do get their previous game, which is always a nice bonus. I think it was called Grab the Bottle. I think it's a puzzle game, I believe. Don't really know much about it, but the fact that they're offering their previous work too on top of their newest game, always a solid bonus.
And then when it comes to the $50, $150, $400, you get into the crazy prices of $1,200, which you can actually design an in-game enemy. And you're also invited to Finland, which is actually pretty cool to spend a day with the developers. I noticed that a lot of the Kickstarter games that I actually see, Tubby, you can like usually take a trip when you spend something like of that caliber of money. So I think that's actually pretty cool because it is a day, of course. That's not like a lot, but like flying across the world, depending on where you are, can like be a lot of money.
Hey, I mean, the Kickstarter, like pledging that much money, you better hope that
I know,
you get a plane ticket, because that's like the price of a plane ticket, like international. So, ooh, that better be. I mean, I've never done it before. I never pledged $1,000+ towards the game before, but it's a pretty cool idea to be able to actually go to the, where the developer works and really meet everyone and see the process of how they came up with the game. It's a really cool and fun experience, but $1,000, shoot, plane ticket, man.
I know, right? Oh man, that's crazy. You get 8 keys, 3 digital wallpapers. Of course, you get the trip, you get the character bio in game, you get everything previously that we've seen before, and of course, you get the Ascendant rank in the developer Discord server.
What makes me wonder is how these companies always say you can design an in-game enemy. Is there like a point where if your design is so ugly, they don't want to put it in the game? What's gonna happen?
I don't think that happens. I'm sure that they offer some advice.
they take your picture and then they just draw over it. It's too ugly.
So my overall thoughts on this game is it has a lot of promise, and I really hope that the developers can still put up a lot of this quality into the final product. Of course, the inspirations from Mega Man and Metroid and of course Castlevania you can see in the gameplay mechanics. So I definitely think if you enjoy games like that, then I don't know, check it out.
If you want to support or learn more about Mindseas, there will be links to everything we talked about in the description below. Question of the day.
What was the last Metroidvania game you played? Let us know in the comments below. And if you want to discover something new during Kickstarter week, then consider subscribing.
You can check out the previous video from yesterday, Peace Island, which involves cats saving humanity. Or why not take a look at this playlist for something different?
Now that's gaming.